What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we've got another Ask Hippo, but oddly enough haven't got that many questions. So to compensate for not having that many questions this week, I'm going to spend a lot of time on each question. I'm going to go in depth, and I'm going to rip the questions apart, and I'm going to really get stuck into this episode. So yeah, I'm not sure why we had a lot less questions. Usually I have like 3 or 4 pages of like screenshots. This week we've only got 2, which is really odd. So yeah, if you guys could go ham on this episode, put a shit ton of questions down below, that would mean the world to me. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so the first question comes from Zhao, and his questions are: what cars do your parents have? What PC would you recommend me to build of a budget of €1,500? And what was the first game you have ever played? So, what cars do my parents have? My mom has a BMW X5, and my dad has a 2014 Cayman, I think. It's really fucking fast. You know, obviously I've only gone 55 miles per hour on those A roads, but no, in all seriousness, it's an absolute beast. You know, my dad with his car, like generally, more like especially where I live, there's a lot of nice cars. Like people who have alright houses have really nice cars. Like there's a souped up MX-5 on my road. You know, I've seen Aston Martins outside semi-detached houses. I mean, overall, it's pretty weird, really. I've seen all types of cars here, so I guess it's not that weird. I think as a family, like the boys in our family, we rather have nice cars than a big house, and that trade-off is quite clearly seen where I live. That's why we have such nice cars, and I think I'd be the same. I'd rather have a nice car than a big house. I think that's just something that's more important to me. So yeah, we're not loaded or anything. We're well off. We're not loaded. But yeah, that's what my parents run. Your PC, I've actually built a PC, which I'll talk about in a minute. And you know, I'll go through why I picked each part. But at number 3. What was the first game I ever played? Hot Pursuit 2. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 was the first game I ever played, and I still enjoy that game today. That's the PC version of the game, not the PS2. I had a PC back when I was a little lad, so yeah, I could kind of play that version first. But anyway, let's move on to the second question which you asked, which was about your PC, what you should build. Now, I've managed to build something for £1,000, as you will be able to see here. Let me quickly get the image up on my screen. It's basically my computer, but a lot better. So I've gone for the 8350 CPU, which is it's an amazing CPU. It's what I run currently, and it's absolutely great. The same CPU cooler I'm using, again, like my CPU runs really coolly. Again, same motherboard, again, runs absolutely amazing. It's got loads of features. The Corsair Vengeance 16 gig memory is actually better than mine. I'm not sure what it actually is, but it's better than mine. 2 terabytes of storage space. At the moment, I've only got 500 gigabytes. That's better than mine. MSI GTX 980 graphics card. Again, an absolute beast. It takes half the budget, but trust me, you would not go back. It's an absolutely amazing card. Same case as mine. It runs really, really quietly. So if you want to have that kind of quiet performance with your PC, the NZX H440 is the best case to go for. As well as that, it's got really good wire management. So if you're really into that kind of stuff, that'll really help too. And then you've obviously got a modular power supply, which again is better than mine. Mine is semi-modular. So this is an amazing, you know, computer. This can easily run most games at 60 Ultra, no doubt, and it's £1,000 exactly, which is €1,500, I believe. There is slight things you can do. If you built my PC in itself, you could probably build that for about £800 and then get someone else for that £200. But for the £1,000 budget, this is what you could get, and it's a fucking beast. Okay, the next question is from Felian the Dragon. His question is: how would you react if Need for Speed 2015 was a remake of Need for Speed Undercover? Now, I'm going to say this because I seem to be getting a lot of questions like this, but honestly, my reaction would be the same no matter what Need for Speed is announced as, unless it was like Need for Speed Nitro or Need for Speed, like, I don't know, like No Limits HD. I honestly don't. I think I'd have the same reaction to whatever it is. You know, if it's Underground, if it's Hot Pursuit, I enjoy all Need for Speed games, so I think I'd have the same reaction to everything, to be honest. There isn't really one Need for Speed which I don't enjoy. Rivals, I enjoyed that for a long time. You know, Most Wanted, 2012, I probably would argue, is one of the ones that I didn't enjoy out of the lot. But there's maybe one or two which I didn't enjoy. So honestly, if it was announced as a Undercover remake, I don't think I'd be too bothered. I think I'd be like, that's pretty cool, you know, finally, you know, we're going to get something. If it was a straight up HD remake, then I'd be annoyed, and that's not, I can guarantee 100% that's not what it's going to be. And if it was, I'd just shove my finger up to EA and say, fuck you. You don't have two years of development time to rebuild a game. But honestly, whatever it is, you know, if it's an Undercover inspired game, if it's a hop shoot inspired game, I don't really care. You know, I enjoyed all those games, so I'm pretty sure I'd enjoy this one too. So that's kind of just the overall consensus. It doesn't matter what the game is, you know. I don't care what the title is. It's all about the actual gameplay itself, and until I get my hands on it, I can't judge the gameplay. So yeah, that's what I think personally. You know, I could give two shits what the name's called. It could be called Need for Speed Fuck Me Up My Ass, but if the game's good, I don't care. But that's just my personal opinion. So yeah, we'll go on to the next question. Okay, the next question is from MuckRacer GT2, and his question is: any advice for first-time YouTubers? Would you rather have a 458 or a 911 GT2 RS? And what do you think? What do you think? Whoa, I can't speak today. What do you make of Jeremy Clarkson being sacked and the future of Top Gear? So, any advice for first-time YouTubers? I'm gonna leave that till the end because there's a lot of things I want to say to you guys if you are first-time YouTubers. But question 2: would you rather have a 458 or a 911 GT2 RS? I would rather have the 911 for the basic reason: Ferraris. I just don't like the crowd that's associated with Ferraris, and I don't think the 458 looks particularly like sexy in a way. I think the 911, it just looks quite nice. You know, I'd rather have a Lambo over either of them. I'd rather have a Huracan than either of them. If I had to pick between those two, it'd definitely be the 911. And what do I think of Jeremy Clarkson and the future of Top Gear? We kind of talked about this yesterday in the podcast, so I won't go on too long for it. But I think Top Gear will die out eventually. The name will still be around for a while because, you know, Top Gear lasted before Jeremy Clarkson, and it will last after Jeremy Clarkson. And they even said in themselves, they said in a statement that Top Gear's going to live. So Top Gear will live. But I think Jeremy Clarkson will move over to Netflix and they'll do a series over there. I think it makes more sense for them to move over to Netflix on a new, you know, existing system where they're probably going to get a lot more viewership and actually carry on the series there. That's really it for Top Gear. I think it will live. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. And his first question was, any advice for first-time YouTubers? Now, but boy, I'm going to say this in terms of what I would tell myself, you know, looking back on my old videos. So, number 1, production quality. Make sure your videos are of high quality. Don't go ahead and record with, you know, cameras that aren't even HD, you know, recording your plasma screen like I did with my webcam. Make sure that, you know, your audio levels are alright with your microphone and with your gameplay audio and with your background audio. Get some actual official, you know, professional editing software, such as Premiere Pro, Sony Vegas. What else could you use? I don't know. I use Premiere Pro, so you guys can use whatever you want, but I use Adobe Premier Pro, and that's what I would personally recommend. I have Adobe Premier Pro CC. Again, learn to use Photoshop for thumbnails. That would really, really, really help. I think one thing I've noticed was when I started using thumbnails, my views went up a lot. And a lot of people, it just looks neater, it looks more professional, you know. And keep your overall channel professional looking. Like, you can say stuff like, you know, I don't care for what the next Need for Speed called, you know, it could be called Need for Speed Fuck Up. Like, you can say all that kind of stuff, but just make sure, you know, it's not, you know, make sure it's presentable. Even if it's like a memes channel, make sure that memes channel, it knows what it wants to be, you know. Make sure you know what you want to be on YouTube. For me, I want to be that guy in the community that everyone, you know, kind of looks up to in a way, you know, not meaning to be arrogant in any way, but I kind of want to be that guy in the community which everyone looks to and thinks, oh, that guy's really cool, or, you know, that guy's cool, he has a really good YouTube channel. That's what I want to be, you know. I kind of want to be that community voice in a way. So you kind of know what you want to be for you in YouTube. If you want to do like racing commentaries, then let people know that. If you want to be a Let's Play channel, let people know that, you know. Get your banners sorted, get your profile picture sorted. One thing I noticed, when I first started YouTube is my logo was actually a copyrighted logo. So if I actually got somewhere on YouTube and kept that logo, I could have been sued, like genuinely, from that company. This one I made, okay, the hippo is actually taking it off a cartoon picture, but I've cropped it and I've kind of made it my own, you know. I've really used fair use to my own advantage. So one thing I'd say, you know, just set yourself up generally and know what you're doing, and just try to get the hang of Photoshop and Premiere Pro. There's always going to be those learning steps for the first few months, but once you get over those learning steps, you will get used to it and you will be fine on YouTube. It's all a learning experience. I mean, if you do carry on making videos, or you start making videos, you'll understand what I mean. You know, at the start it's very much a learning experience, but then over time you'll learn what to do better, and you'll look back on your old videos and you'll think, yeah, camera's right, I did do that and that wrong on this video, you know, now I'm doing this right. You know, it's all a learning experience. When I was doing YouTube, I was awful at the start. You know, I had my mic way too loud, the gameplay wasn't that great. Just make sure you spend a lot of time and kind of perfect the craft, because it does take time. You know, people think this doesn't take that amount of time, but trust me, you know, to perfect the craft, it does take a lot of time. So just kind of, you know, just make sure it's professional, and make sure it's, you know, viewable and audible, and eventually you'll learn the tricks of the trade as you go along. But it's all a learning experience. Okay, the next question is from Japan Drifter, and his question is, where am I? You, my friend, are in Antarctica. Okay, the next question is from Kelvin. His first question is, how would you respond if Craig Sullivan made a YouTube channel trying to promote Need for Speed 2015? Second question is, what do you think about the crew faction missions? And just talking about what do you think about them. And if you had to be one initial D character, who would it be? So number one, how would I respond? I actually don't really like the whole Craig It Up and Craig Sullivan thing. I've talked about this before. It pisses me off. You know, Craig is probably an absolute G. You know, he's probably an absolute guy. So I don't see why people take the piss out of him. You know, it's not his fault that the game turned it out how it wanted to be. I believe that was a group decision, not just his. I mean, you know, not one person decides how the game's physics are going to be like. So this whole Craig Sullivan bullshit, it just pisses me off, to be honest. You know, if you made a channel promoting Need for Speed 2015, I'd watch the channel and I'd get hyped for Need for Speed 2015. I think that's all there is to it. So Craig, if you're watching this, I've got your back, mate. Me and you face the world. But yeah, I don't really give a shit for Craig Up anymore. It died a long time ago, and I'd argue that it's not even his fault. So yeah. Number two, what do you think of the crew faction missions and those missions that are added in some updates that have stupid rewards? Example, extra XP. What do you think of it? I don't really play too much of the crew anymore. I think I've got bored, to be honest. The faction missions were basically the same as they were really boring, really boring. They didn't pay that well either. I found doing PvP religiously was a lot better. So faction missions overall were just bullshit, really, and I've got bored of the crew by now. So I haven't played that game in a while, and I don't really want to play it particularly because I'm kind of playing other games at the moment. If I had to pick one ID character, who would it be? I guess a lot of people would say Takumi, but I want to be Shinji. If you don't know who that is, don't Google him. That's what I'll say. I'll say don't Google him if you are watching the series. But yeah, I'd be Shinji, definitely. Okay, and the final question of this week is from the Speedway Gamer, and his questions are, should CJ replace Jeremy Clarkson, Ivory Tower, or Ghost Games, and why do Baked Potato? That is probably the weirdest question I've had since this series has started. So number one, should CJ replace Clarkson? Yes. As long as he doesn't leave Drivecast. Ivory Tower or Ghost Games? It's too hard to say, but at the moment I'd say Ghost Games. They seem a lot more dedicated than Ivory Tower, and they just seem like they know what they're doing a lot more, I think, in a way. So I'd say Ghost Games. I have a lot more faith in Ghost Games. And why I guess Baked Potatoes just, you know, just soothe your satisfaction, you know. I mean, we all get satisfied by different things, and you just love to rub potatoes, I guess. So yeah, that's a very weird question. I can't believe I just answered that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow with Community Showcase 3 days late because I am very unorganized and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe. All social media links are down in the description below. If you do want to follow, you can do so, you know, at your own wish. If you aren't following me on Twitter, you're missing the other half of YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.